Okay, guys. Hey, Russia is back because my voice is back. Yay! And, I actually have just completed this book right here. And if you can't see, it's called Moby Dick. And for those of you who have read it, you know it's kind of a big deal. For those of you who haven't read it, it's kind of a big deal. And this is basically where my life has been for a couple weeks. Not something I'm too proud of. Actually, I am pretty proud of it, because this is a freaking hard book to read. And so, what I'd like to do is, before Russia returns, I would like to read some of my favorite chapters to you. They're not even chapters, just some of my favorite sections of this book. This is my favorite chapter. It's called A Squeeze of the Hand, chapter 94, beginning on page 402, for those of you who are interested and have this copy of the book. Now, basically, this is my favorite chapter, as you'll find out, for very obvious reasons. And it's one heck of a chapter. So, basically what's going on is they killed a whale, as they do in Moby Dick, and so they're taking the oil, or sperm, as it is known, out of the whale and putting it in buckets. But unfortunately, this sperm kind of cools off and it hardens into sperm balls. Not my phrase. That is what Melville uses. And so, it was our business to squeeze these lumps back into fluid. A sweet and unctuous duty, coming from Ishmael. And so basically, let me just read to you how Ishmael feels about squeezing sperm balls. As I sat there at my ease, cross-legged on the deck, after the bitter exertion at the windlass, under a blue, tranquil sky, the ship under the indolent sail and gliding so serenely along, as I bathed my hands among those soft, gentle globules of infiltrated tissues, woven almost within the hour, as they richly broke into my fingers and discharged all of their opulence, like full ripe grapes their wine. As I snuffed up that uncontaminated aroma, literally and truly, like the smell of spring violets, I declare to you that for the time I lived as in a musky meadow, I forgot all about our horrible oath, which is to kill Moby Dick, and that inexpressible sperm, I washed my hands and my heart in it. Okay. Right. I bet none of you feel that way about sperm. Now, perhaps the best part of this chapter isn't actually Ishmael squeezing the sperm balls. The best part could quite possibly be what happens while he's squeezing the sperm balls. And a lot of you little dirty images popping into your mind right about now. I assure you it's not that dirty. It's interesting. Okay. Squeeze, 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 all the morning long. I squeezed that sperm till I myself almost melted into it. I squeezed that sperm till a strange sort of insanity came over me, and I found myself unwittingly squeezing my co-laborers' hands in it, mistaking their hands for the gentle globules. Such an abundant, affectionate, friendly, loving feeling did this avocation beget, that at last I was continually squeezing their hands, and looking up into their eyes, sentimentally, as much as in say, "Oh, my dear fellow beings, why should we longer cherish any sociable acerbities, or know the slightest ill humor of envy? Come, let us squeeze hands all around, nay, let us all squeeze ourselves into each other. Let us squeeze ourselves universally into the very milk and sperm of kindness." Now, Playhousers, you're probably wondering why on earth I chose to read that particular bit of that chapter to you. And, because it's my favorite chapter, because who wouldn't like a chapter about squeezing sperm balls and homoerotic undertones? But I actually got a really Russia-esque vibe from this passage. And of course you're wondering, well, of course, yes, of course, Kyle. There's sperm involved. Of course Russia is all into this. But there's a deeper meaning. Here, I'll read it again to you. "Oh, my dear fellow beings, why should we longer cherish any social acerbities, or know the slightest ill humor or envy? Come, let us squeeze hands all around, nay, Let us all squeeze ourselves into each other. Let us squeeze ourselves universally into the very milk and sperm of kindness. Now, taken out of context is kind of weird, but I feel like Russia feels this way about the world because Ishmael, the character who's saying this and narrating this, thinks that in order to achieve world peace, we should all squeeze hands and squeeze sperm together. And Russia basically believes the same thing. So, just that little correlation. So if you ever have to read Moby Dick, I hope you just think of Russia, think of world peace, squeezing sperm mold until they burst, and just